Greetings, hello, and welcome. Hi everyone, welcome to DevChatter. If you don't know, my name is Brendan. This channel here is DevChatter, and you are all welcome to have conversations with me, with the other viewers, talk about, watch the stream. We've got all kinds of fun stuff for you. You'll notice some people are already using our chat bot over there. That is one of the projects that we built here on the stream. We did it all from scratch. For the most part, we used a couple of libraries to help get some of our things going. But I think things were set up. Glad to see people already here and chatting. It's a pretty nice Thursday. It is quite cold where I am, but other than that, pretty nice. Sorry about the late start, everyone. Had a couple of things to deal with. Those of you that know, over the weekend we had a tree fall on our garage, and so had to meet with someone this morning about that. So I'm running a little bit late, but overall, still pretty good. A couple of things I want to mention. So I said you could get involved with the stream. One of the best ways to do that is, well, obviously to show up to the stream and watch and chat with everyone, but also you can get access to any of the source code that we build on the stream for any of our projects. It is all out on GitHub at github.com/devchatter. And in addition, if you want to chat with me or any of the other viewers here, the best place to do that is to join our Discord. So outside the stream, there are a lot of us over there. We can chat about different stuff. One of the big things, if you are planning on contributing to one of our projects, I really recommend that you join the Discord so that you can chat with us there. That is one of the big things. If you are new to open source and new to contributing to open source projects, I really recommend that you start off. Doesn't have to be me, but pick some streamer and contribute to one of their open source projects. The reason I suggest that is you can show up to the chat, you can ask questions, they can potentially review your pull request on stream, so you can actually get the real live feedback and not just what the canned response, like not just something written, because you can actually find out, like, well, what did they actually think of this? Because sometimes you get a response, someone tells you, hey, you need to fix this, and you might be like, oh man, they hated it, but no, if you actually saw, like, they probably didn't hate it, they probably liked a lot of the stuff you did, and their response was just, hey, basically could have been, hey, I love all the stuff that you did, but in order for me to merge this in, you need to do these three little things, but everything else was great. And, you show up to a streamer and they can just say that on the stream, and then, boom, you're good, and they'll put in the feedback what the few things are that still need to be done. So, if you've never contributed to open source, I highly recommend you do it with a streamer. Also, we have a lot of other cool, fun stuff over on the Discord. Let's see, other bits of bookkeeping stuff. I am working on getting us new emotes, so especially for the subscribers here in the channel, you can tell who the subscribers are because they all have those dinosaur eggs, or if they've hatched, then they're full-on dinosaurs, like what you see on Stoolpenner and S&B's accounts there. Then those are the subscribers to the channel, and our subscribers have access to some emotes. Yep, Stoolpenner just tossed them in the chat there. So Tier 1 subscribers have the Derp and Hype emotes, and I am looking at getting us some more emotes. I'm going to get a bunch made, because Twitch is starting to let affiliates have more emotes. So we were restricted to only having one before, but now they've unlocked a second one, and we'll be getting more. So lots of DevChatter themed emotes is the plan. Should be a lot of fun. Let's see, other stuff. Okay, so first off, I want to welcome everybody that is here in chat today. I noticed Stoolpenner and S&B said hello right at the beginning, so did Brandon. Welcome Stoolpenner, S&B, and Brandon. Anybody else say hi? Navarro. Hi, Navarro for the win, welcome. Greetings. And I thought I saw Zunjin in there somewhere. Yep, hey Zunjin, welcome. Glad to see people saying hi in chat. Ace Flameseer, hello. Greetings, welcome. So, for anyone that is wondering, we are working on some C# code, as is our usual thing here on the stream. We love doing C#, JavaScript. We may look at some TypeScript at some point, and I'm definitely planning on doing some F#. Let's see, what other stuff is going on? Somewhere down the road, I am meaning to do some Unity projects, so we're going to do some game development at some point, like some actual game development. It sounds fun. I want to figure out how I can do that in such a way that most of our time spent here is productive and interesting, so we might have to keep the project small still. We'll see about that, because I don't want to get us in, I don't want us to become a gaming stream, because that's not what we are. We're about programming of all different kinds, so hence why we've done a little bit of casual game development, because it's kind of fun, it's interesting, it's a different way of doing things. And I think it's valuable for us to see that as programmers, and it's kind of fun. Okay, so we have been working on a project here on the stream. Last time, which was Tuesday, we were in the middle of some changes. I have kept those here. I've got them unstashed on my computer, so we are right back where we were on Tuesday. And let's see, we are... That should be a run-in site. Let me bring this over onto the screen so everyone can see what we are doing. Bring that onto the screen, and localhost 5000. There we go. Yep, my connection is not private because this is just a self-signed certificate. So for anyone that's wondering why those pop up all the time, I'll give a quick explanation. So if you don't know, essentially Chrome is freaking out because I don't have, like, for my local development, I don't really have, like, a third-party, SSL certificate on this application. I just have, what people would call a self-signed certificate in order to run locally. And that obviously sets off red flags for Chrome, right? You shouldn't be using that in production. And so Chrome's a little freaked out by it. Now, it happens that I'm running at localhost, and there might be a setting somewhere inside of it that I can, that I can tell Chrome, hey, for a localhost connection, don't worry about this. But there might be some security risk I'm not thinking of. But either way, since this is a site I am building, I'm willing to tell Chrome, hey, I'm not going to attack myself. So, short answer. All right, so let's take a look. Last time, so this is the website we were building, and we have recently made some significant changes to the site. We're currently adding in the authentication pieces, so we should be able to log in right now, but I want to take a look at our current changes. We are setting up permission. So again, there's two auth words there that are important. There is authentication, which we have, that's the ability to log in, and then there is authorization, and that is someone actually supposed to be able to access this thing? So we were planning on setting up what's called policy-based authorization. So the idea is, instead of setting up this role can have this, you set up policies for what are needed in order to be able to do certain tasks, and it's a slightly different approach. So we were trying to set that up last time, but I don't think that we actually got it working. Let's take a look. I'm going to run it in Visual Studio. Hey, Coated Beard, welcome. Let's open up the startup page, startup file, and what do we have? We have add authorization right here, and we said can edit channel requires the edit permission. Get out of here. There we go. The edit permission, I believe, is just a blank thing right now. I don't think there's anything in the edit permission. Welcome, Plutonin. Okay, so this is just a basic authorization requirement, nothing special about it. What I'm hoping to figure out is if there's some way to make it so the policy somehow has to pass in the next variable. If I can't make this work, I'm going to fall back onto an action filter style approach, which I know I can solve the problem with that. So if we have trouble with the policy, we're going to fall back on that. So let's take a look though, because if I can make it work, hey, Twitchloft, long time no see, welcome back. You were not here last stream. So we put the authorize attribute on the, which one is this? This is edit my channel. CSHTML.cs, this one right here. So there is our authorize can edit channel. So we're saying you need to have the can edit channel permission in order to get this, is what we're saying. And then inside of our custom handler for that, so that would be the channel permissions handler here, we are saying that this is an authorization handler for the edit permission. to check whether or not, so that, I believe what this says is check whether or not someone has the edit permission. I think is when this is supposed to get called. So when we say can edit channel, that is supposed to line up with can edit channel. If I didn't get anything mixed up there. Hey, Codair and Snickering, welcome, welcome, greetings. A bunch of people just showing up. I am assuming another stream must have just ended since a bunch of people came in at the same time. That or everybody just got the notification, and that's whenever Twitch sent it out. Alright, so let's take a look over here. ASP.NET Core Policy Authorization. Custom authorization policy. What are these two? Custom policy retrieval, custom authorization. Yeah, that's just not a scenario I run into. So alright, so public task authorization policy. Hey, doing pretty well, Snickering. How are you? Opinions on VS Code. Codair, I love VS Code. We are running it right here also. So I use both VS Code and Visual Studio. They're both fantastic editors. Visual Studio, obviously a more full-featured IDE, but VS Code's still very, very good. It is a fantastic text editor. Can definitely get us what we need. So that's custom. Okay, but that doesn't actually. Did I hang on? Did I add the add singleton authorization handle channel permission handler? Yeah, that's the one, channel permission handler right there. Is that seriously not going to get called? Let's go over to VS Code. We're going to stop the website because we want to debug over here. I'm going to try running this again and see if we can't get that to run. Essentially what we're trying to do is we're just trying to make this execute, because if we can make this execute, then we should be good. Oh, you're dabbling into C# tomorrow. Snickering, that's awesome. Yeah, C# is really, really fun. So I hope that goes well. And keep in mind, I forget if you're on our Discord or not. If you're not on our Discord, don't forget there are a bunch of people that know C# over there, so... create channel... oh, I'm not logged in. Chatter 1, and it's... password, I think. Yes, haha! I guessed the password. Let's see. VS Code is much more lightweight than IntelliJ. Oh yeah. Yeah. If you use IntelliJ, that would be like the equivalent of using like Rider for C#. Codair, yeah, I would recommend you check out VS Code for doing your JavaScript stuff. VS Code's very good for that. So, all right, so we have these pages. I'm going to go ahead and hit edit here. And when I do that, it should have caught our breakpoint, but it didn't. So for some reason, that authorize attribute didn't happen. Let me check one other thing. Razer page authorize. Okay, so maybe we have to do it this way. Alright, so we're going to do it this way. Require authorization. Oh, anonymous to page. Okay, we'll do this. We'll do this. Hey, Codair! Thanks very much for the 2-month resub. Hype, hype, hype! And that's actually a good point. I'm not sure if you were here the past couple of days. I don't know if you noticed, but thanks to Twitch, you now actually have access to 2 emotes, not just the hype. You also have our derp emote. So we unlocked that with Twitch. So they gave us access to another emote. So that is very cool. Quite nice for all of the existing subscribers here. Yeah, exactly. We now do have derp for everyone. Okay, so the my pages need the authorize attribute. I think is what we're gonna do. We do need to authorize access to all the my pages, which is authorizing a folder. There we go. Yes, perfect. The specific attribute required needs to change. So I'm hoping just doing that tells it, hey, apply authorize attributes to that section, and we'll find out what it does. We may need to take a different approach for it, but we'll find out. Okay. Let's try this again. Good old my folder. Yeah, so everything under the my folder is going to be specific to your account. So hence, my. It's essentially, those are going to be the things like, to be able to view your favorites, to be able to view the streams that you create. That's what the my folder is for, which is this one. And I was able to load it without hitting an authorize attribute. There we go. No, that hits that. That was still not my authorize attribute. Okay. So it's like it's checking that we're logged in, but not applying like our special wait, hang on. An authorized folder overload is available if you need to specify the policy. Ooh. Okay. Well, in that case, we could do that. Hang on. Yeah. Yeah. I think this'll work. Hey. That's what I'm talking about. That makes sense. So then you do, where's the overload, guys? Come on. Give me my intelligence back. Folder path, and then the next attribute is the policy. So we'll say can access channel is going to be our policy. So there we go. Wait, what is this? How'd I become a part of Live Coders? Codair, you're part of the Live Coders group? You definitely could be. The Live Coders team is a team that Fritz was eventually able to set up once he managed to get partner with Twitch. So it is actually something that both of us have been hoping to get to for quite a long time. Is going to be very, very good for the community. So we are thrilled that is like, there. Okay, so we're doing read permission on this in order to have that, and then inside of the handler, we're just saying if you're the owner, which we're saying true for now, which we'll put in the real requirements later, then say succeed. But I want to catch that breakpoint. So, how can you join it? Code error. You want to reach out to C# Fritz and let him know that you want to join that team. So anyone that is one of our live coders can go ahead and join that. And you can let Fritz know. I don't know if you are like a regular follower of his stream or something like that. Just mention to him that you are like from the DevChatter group or something like that, and I'm sure he will let you in. Hey, the Michael Jolly, welcome. Yes, many people hop into that lurk and work mode. Ooh, access denied. You don't have access to this resource. Weird. So it didn't call it? Well, that's cool that I got an access denied. That's actually kind of neat. Thanks, Sunjin. Yeah, the access denied. So it wired it up, but I apparently don't have that permission, which is cool. That means it's definitely running. That policy. Maybe I need to add in this policy before we do that. Let's see. Where's this? Yeah, hang on. How's this different from what we did in a policy requirements? We could say it owns it. Hey, Auth Bobby, yeah, Auth Zero Bobby. I got my words in the right order there. I thought you could have clean code in the reading section. Programmers need to understand the value of that book. Yes, Coder, and I would also actually recommend most people read Clean Coder, not just Clean Code. Both are a very good book. One is about the actual code needing to be clean, or at least cleaner, and then the other one is really more about a book about professionalism. So very, very important thing. Yeah, mine's not within reach because it's on the other side of a green screen, so I wouldn't be able to get to it without, getting up and walking around to the other side of that. No comment? Must be clean code. Yeah, comments are important, but so specifically a comment on your code, I usually find means that I didn't have a better way of improving it. But sometimes you don't have the time to improve it. So especially if you're like, well, we got to get this out the door. I don't have the time to do this the right way. That's when a comment to explain like, hey, this is like this. It should get fixed to do this. And then it's usually good enough. But people get the idea then, this isn't clean yet. We need to fix it up. So, yep, welcome everyone. And if I ever miss saying hi to people, I think you get the idea that I'm glad you're here, but didn't have time to respond on that one. Read permit. Let's not call it read permission. Let's say can access channel. We'll say channel owner. Say channel owner requirement is our thing. I like policies having the word like can do a thing in the name, so I'm gonna leave that like that. Instead of just saying read access, we're gonna do that. I like that name a little bit better for this, instead of just calling it read permission. So I'm going to delete those. And I'm going to create a new class that we're going to call channel owner requirement. And that is an I authorization requirement. So we're going to put that up here. This is going to be our interface for this. And I don't think it's going to need anything right now. So I think it's going to get to be just basically blank. Then on this one, so we have our channel permission handler, which again is not exactly the right thing. Oh, I maybe needed to change that to read. That might have been why it didn't work a moment ago. Same author requirement, that takes in the document. So I'm going to take in the channel if I can. So this is going to be channel owner requirement, and it'll take in channel, because I really like this concept of making it take in both pieces. I didn't know it could do that. So let's implement those. There we go. And what do we do with this? So we are a task of handle requirements. And that is one beast of a parameter list, just because those names of those types are so long. And then this one, we're checking to see if the current user context user identity, we don't want to check name. We want to check the user ID, which we looked up a way to do that over somewhere else. Is that actually in here? Where did we do that? We did that recently somewhere. Thanks, Coder. Yeah, clean coders. Don't forget to shower. The Michael Jolly, I wasn't enthusiastic enough about welcoming you. What? See, this is why I need a table flip button. Your code is self-documenting. Yeah, good code is self-documenting. That is very true. That also doesn't mean that you can skip documentation entirely, because that's the other catch. Good code is self-documenting means that a lot of times you can understand what the code does just by reading it, but that also doesn't excuse the idea that you do need some explanation of what's going on, especially for public methods and things like that. Because there's something different between the dev team being able to understand what they're reading and someone else knowing what you meant. Because some terms that seem obvious to you might not be obvious to someone else. Whereas I might understand, for example, like, well, what's a channel tag? Because if you're working in this code base, you generally know what a channel tag is. But again, we're going to want some documentation on that because someone might not know what a channel tag is. You can add multiple policies in the same add authorization options. Oh, yeah, you mean in in the startup over here. Yeah, I can add in additional requirements in here. I think is what you're talking about, S&B. I'm just like that sometimes. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Good code should read like a narrative. And Stoolpenner, thanks for putting the table back for me. Much appreciated. Some code I wrote, I don't even... Yeah, well, true. Yes. Sometimes the future developer that needs to understand your code is you. So very, very important to make sure that you keep things nice. So we didn't want that. I accessed... where were we getting the current user? The index page of my channel. That's where it is. So pages, my channel, index. It should be right around here. There's user ID. Okay, got it. So we're going to do this. Grab the user ID. We don't need... This is just context. It's not HTTP context because it's passed in right there. User claims... do I need link for that? Okay, yeah, that's all I was complaining about. Alright, so there's link. So we're going to grab the first that has a name identifier. So this should get us our... resource is not what ours is called. This is going to be called channel. So channel, and that's going to be what? Did I not put it on this? What? How did we get that then? Didn't I put this on? Didn't I put owners on a channel? I swear I did. How did we lock it down over here? Oh no, because it's not on this object. Oh, it's on a separate table. It's on a separate table. It's on a separate table. Okay. So when they call this, they're calling on get, and they're just straight up calling the authorize right there. I don't like that, but at least the code is already separate, so we can potentially put it somewhere else. Can I get away with this? I don't know if I can get away with this, or if it's gonna not be able to run this thing because we're taking this in. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. I want this to run at all. So I'm gonna not care about this just yet, and I'm just gonna say if is owner user ID channel. We're just going to pass those in for now. Create that, and hey, user ID channel return true. Yeah, I totally checked that out. I made sure it was right. Definitely no problems there. Alright, now we're going to return a completed task here. Okay, so essentially what's happening here, just so people are aware of what's going on, the way these authorize methods are called, they pass in the authorization context, essentially, which is sort of like saying what's the current state of the authorization, and then you can either set it to yep, let them in, or no, don't. And then because it's an async task, because it's a task, I should say it's a task, this isn't async, you need to then just return back, hey, I'm done, and then they'll check what the context value was, because this is passed in by reference, so they're just going to look at that value and see what happened. So that's all that's going on there. First off, hey Zunjin, what do you mean, what about now? I don't know what you're talking about. And Mobabo, okay, sounds good. Take care. We'll see you in a bit. We're gonna do that. Let's drop the breakpoint here, and I just want to see, is it gonna call this thing at all? So I'm gonna remove this for now, because I'm actually not sure that we can really get that value just yet. I'm not sure how to pass the how to do the resource based with that one, because they're calling it here, but I want to call it as like something else. I don't want to call it just, you know, at the time that like calling it inside the method just doesn't feel right. I guess I can do it as the first thing that's in there. Yeah, it's just that. Huh. And this is Razer page authorization conventions. I will tell you, if there's one thing that I have learned from messing with this, It's that this set of documents right here on authorization, these need work. I love and appreciate the authors that put this stuff here. There is good information here, but whew, do these need work? They're not clear, and the problem that we've got from the separation between Razer pages and the controllers and views, whew, that is something else right now. So we're saying channel permissions handler is the one we're using over here in startup. Channel permissions handler right there, using the authorization attribute. We're saying we're supposed to be authorizing that whole folder. When we take a look at this, we see that it's trying to use the can access channel. And can access channel, when we look at this, says it needs the channel owner requirement, which I don't know if we're actually getting at that or not. So that's a good point. We may not be. Well, let's run this and see where it bombs us out. Oh man, whoa, hey, it got us in. Very nice. There's our user ID, so we grabbed that value, and then we're gonna say true. Let's just hit F5 here and see what happens. Hey, it loaded the page. When I go here, it does it again. Yes! Ha-ha! We got it! Oh, that's glorious. Alright, context. What is on you at runtime? Resource. What is your resource right now? It's an authorization filters context. What? I don't know what that means though, guys. What is that? Context dot. So there's the user resource. Context dot. Do I have anything about the request? So we're supposed to have a channel owner requirement. Okay. Pass posted value to what is this? An authorization handler? Authorization based on action parameters. Yes, exactly. Wait, hang on. Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is how we get those. Okay, cool. Thank you, Internet. You answered that very quickly. So these were the values I was checking for. We should have some version of this. Okay, where is this? What is that thing? ASP.NET Core authorization context. As long as there's a useful error. Exactly, Renee. Exactly. After time. Hey, welcome. Just tuning in for the first time. Also, Villa.net Dev. Any short summary of what you're working on currently? Yeah, no problem. So welcome. We are working on a how to explain this. We're building a community website in ASP.NET Core using C# and well, JavaScript, obviously. For our various frameworky stuff, we are using Vue.js, Dapper ORM, and Fluent Migrator. We were previously using EF Core and its migrations, but since we do that on all of our other projects, some people requested that we not do it for this one, so I said, sure, why the heck not? And I pulled out all the EF Core stuff, for the most part, and switched us over to Dapper ORM. And as I said, it's a community website specifically for developer streams, so let me go ahead and show you roughly what it looks like. So it is this site right here that we're building, and essentially the way that we're going to set it up is we want to have things like a calendar page right here, which I'm going to highlight right there. The calendar page is where you can go and look to see what programming streams are coming up in the future, so you can figure out who streams when and that sort of thing, and then also a place to just browse all the various channels, whether by filtering based on tags, so you could find streams that do maybe you're an F# guy, for example. You could find F# streams. So I don't know, but that's kind of the idea, is set it up so that there's just a place where you can find information about all kinds of live coding streams, whether they be on Twitch or YouTube or wherever. So okay, so this is as something. We were looking at this. Where's the word core in here? That better be here. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is the one that we want. It is one of these. Okay, so controller context dot. No, that is not the one. What? No, that's what that is. Authorization handler context. That's what that is. No. No. Internet person, you were not correct. Was that beep from my computer? I don't even know where that came from. Weird. So they renamed authorization context to authorization handler context. Cool. This used to have the I want route data. How to access the route? Yeah, exactly. How do I get the route data? Yeah, this is what we want. Browser record owner, yes. Yep. Need that, exactly. I know how to do this in an action filter. I do it in action filters all the time. Okay, so record, okay, so yes, it's gonna have the requirement that they be the owner. We will put in some constructors for this. Okay, so they're creating another class, it seems like. So they're creating a special class just to get access. And what does that class do? So that's the action content accessor. How'd they get that? So the DB context, we don't want that one, but we want, and then that's the action content context accessor. If users next, okay. Yeah, I know how to get that value that he's talking about there. You just make the requirement have a parameter. So how did he get this in here? Hang on, sorry, I saw someone say something in chat. I'll be there in just a second. Is user authorized context? There's the handler context. Action context. What? How does that get passed to it then? How can the action content accessor have this? We're missing part of the code here, random person on the internet. Unless, oh wait, or is this just a thing? This is just a thing. Oh, I am wrong. Oh man, that's awesome. Never mind. Oh geez, that is cool. Okay, yes, please. I will use that. Certainly. I didn't realize they had that. That's nifty. Okay, so here's what we're doing. And I apologize. I will get to chat. Don't worry. Just give me 1 second to finish the thing I am doing, and that is this. So this is that is the action content accessor, and then the other one I need is the iCrud repository, I think. We'll do that. These both need to get saved as fields on here. If we're doing this, then we can't do that right off the bat. Because we would need one each time. This would have to get created every time. So this also needs to be transient. Ah! Didn't mean to do that. Which I don't think it is by default. No, they put it in as a singleton. It'll need to be transient. Ah! Transient if we're going to do this. Man, I am just misclicking everything right now. Don't worry, everyone. I promise I'm okay. Alright, so we get those, so that assigns those values. Then in my isOwner method, I just need to do this. One of those. These aren't a thing anymore. All right, now the ID. Okay, so this is checking ID in the route data like this, which is not that is not correct. I mean, we are going to do that, but that's not really what we're going to do. Okay, so I believe in our case this is the correct one. Hang on 1 second, I want to check. Yes, it is ID. Okay, so this gets us our ID. This should be if ID is int question mark number. I don't know. Anyway, oh. Let's see. We'll call that arg. We'll call this ID. Will it not do that with that? Okay, we're just gonna do that. So I guess if it's null, it won't be considered an int is probably what's gonna happen with that. So arg is int, then we will say underscore CRUD repository get, and this will be a channel. Actually, no, we're gonna get a channel permission that has wait, channel permission. Can I get one of these this way? I'm actually not sure. I don't think I can. Now that I think about it. I can't do that because it doesn't have an ID. It's not a data entity. So we're gonna pull it differently. It's not a CRUD repository. We need to pull it differently. Okay, I'm gonna check out chat and then we'll be right back to this. Alright, sorry, I let chat explode. My bad, I'm sorry. I'm troubleshooting an invalid argument error at work, but no mention of which of the 4 it is. Oh yeah, those are the best, Renee. When someone didn't take the time to put in the correct argument name to be able to tell you which one had a problem. Let's make a custom ORM, but jokes aside, I wonder if there would be any interest in an ORM that could be used with immutable DTOs by injecting the values through the constructor instead of property setters. Voight, I bet there is. Stoolpinner not came from it. Stoolpinner, yes, pair program, I love it. Did I say Vue? Yes, I did. How do I incorporate Vue.js with ASP.NET? Well, there's actually multiple ways that you can connect in Vue.js. So we are using it sort of in a very light approach right now. There's 2 ways that you can do it. So we are doing it in that we're mostly using pages, but we are using Vue.js on our pages to give us all of our dynamic content. So essentially, we are using Vue.js as a JavaScript framework, not as like a JavaScript-based application. So that is another approach, which again, of course, one that we could take. So you can do a single-page application that has an ASP.NET Core backend, at which point, essentially, all you're doing, if you take that route, is building a regular Vue.js application, and it happens that all the backend services that you call are API controllers inside of an ASP.NET Core website. So both of those approaches will work reasonably well to be able to make that happen. Plutonin, I want that value because I need to get access. I need to see which channel this user's trying to access. So essentially what we're doing here is when a user requests a page that has, we'll say any kind of restricted information or restricted access, we want to generally be able to just use the channel permissions handler. And for this, I want to make it so right now, it is checking just the channel owner requirement. We might be able to check more than one requirement on that. I'm not sure. We might have to restructure how we're doing this. But the point being that we want to allow the channel owner, but not other people, to be able to edit and access the channel. So we need to know which channel that is. So the ways that you can do that is by accessing the data off of the route and saying, okay, what ID were they trying to get? Now here's the catch. They hard-coded, the example we found on the internet, hard-coded this ID. We don't have to do that because I already know how to do that because I have done this exact approach with action filters before instead of authorization. And it works pretty well that way also, but I was trying to do it the right way here. Even though the quote wrong way still works pretty well. It's just that the thing that's wrong about it is that you're not doing the check at the time of you're not doing it at the check of authorization. You're doing it at the action filter time when you take that approach, which is slightly wrong. Okay. Let's see. Let's turn it into a spa. Zunjin, we're not planning on doing that today. Maybe a different project. That's exactly what I need as well. Use Vue.js just to make the pages more dynamic and not as an actual application, but just with the JS and stuff. Is there any open source project that you have that you could look into a template to check out how you made it? Yeah, this one. Go to our Git. Yeah, SNB just pointed. Yeah. Never mind. I see that SNB already did that. Yeah, it's our GitHub repository. Look for the DevStreams project. So very small text up there. You can see the word DevStreams. So you're just looking for, well, actually, if you just take that URL and you put DevStreams on the end, that'll get you there. Hey, Jolly Roger, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. Okay, so we want to... So we can't get a permission that way. So let's call this a... Let's make a permissions check. That makes sense. That seems generic enough. Let's call this interface I channel access service. Bool can access channel. Actually, this will be a channel permission service, not access. Can access channel. This will be user ID and int channel ID. So this is channel permission can access the channel. Can access the channel is not can edit, delete, etc. So for now, we're going to do it this way. And let me go ahead and rename the file and jump back over to the startup right over here. We're going to do the same thing we did here. And we're going to make channel permission service over in our Dapper project. This is going to be a class over here. So essentially we're splitting this apart so that this can just have access to, so that'll import that reference there. We'll implement that missing member, and this now becomes the piece that we pass in to our, not that, where's our handler? This one? This one. So instead of having a CRUD access, we're going to have this. This will be the permission service. I think that makes sense. Permission service. That I understand that name. Checks whether or not someone or something has permission to do the thing it's trying to do. Now down here, we just say if that is an int and permission service can access the channel, and that'll be user ID and ID. We do not pass channel in there anymore because we don't have that there. We'll get it down here. So we'll pass in the user ID, we'll pass in that. We just say if this is this, which actually instead of putting this inside as owner, we'll just do this. Put that there. So we're gonna say if essentially grab the user ID and then grab the ID and say if they have access to it, then go ahead and say succeed with the requirement that they got, which is the channel owner requirement, because that's what we said it would be, and complete the task. So they have successfully achieved channel owner requirement if they get to that point, and I think that makes sense. Now we just need to actually make this do what we said it does. And in order to do that, we're going to need to steal this. And by need to, I mean want to. So essentially what this code that I just copied in here is the constructor, which we have set up to take in an options of database settings, and this will tell us what our connection string is. The next mild thing that I'm going to just yank from my other code is that. Did that add the extra curly? I don't think it did. No, it didn't. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and connect to database here. And as soon as we do that, and you know what? I don't like that being quite as long as it is. So we're going to say connection execute scalar. Right, is that what we want to do? We created an exists, didn't we? Yeah, we did. It's right here. Okay. That's what we want. We're gonna say exists. We're not gonna do this as one of these, since I didn't make it async to begin with. The type here is going to be a channel permission. Channel permission, right? Yep. And this will be where not ID equals ID in this case. So I'm going to pull this out. This is a const string. It'll be SQL, and then this is going to be user ID, channel ID. So here is our parameter set. So we want to make sure that there's more than one of these. And this is going to be where the channel ID equals at channel ID and user ID equals at user ID. And then I think that should be all we have to check. And we'll just do a connection record count on that, and that should work. All right. We can access the channel if there's more than one of these, so if that exists. Awesome. Okay, there we go. Why not use just like this user manager, add claim async user, new claim, and check for the claim? For which claim, Plutonin? Like, add a claim for the channel? Say what permission they've got? Because we can do that kind of thing. But what we're trying to do is I'd shorten that further by using a var. Well, technically, I'm using a var would actually change the code, S&B. So if I use a var here, it's no longer like I've actually changed types, sort of. Compile time types, runtime types. I haven't really changed anything, but compile time types I will have. By using the interface, I am able to be sure that the that I don't use anything that's specific to a SQL connection here, despite the fact that it is right here. So it changes compile time types, doesn't really change much else, but I could do that, and it does work basically the same way. It's not really going to change anything. So, I mean, I can do that. And then, boom, hey, one-lined. Either way, let's jump back over to this file. Take a look. So we checked for that. We don't use this anymore. So now, basically, all we're saying is do that, and that should work. Okay, let's try this. Breakpoint here, and let's see what happens. We're still one step short of this actually working the way that we want it to. We're going to have to change the way that our authorize attribute works. We're probably going to have to make a custom authorize attribute to be able to get the parameter in there. There's our user ID. Our arg is null. Ooh, no. Okay, so it wasn't in the route data as value. Okay. Let's try and find it. Okay. Values, what are they? Oh, wait, what? Why does it say 1 now? Oh, oh, that's definitely not the value right now. What is that? What is that piece called? Values dot keys. What are the what? Oh, keys. Yeah. Derp. Page. Okay. Because that's not actually what I want to have. That's not actually where the route value is supposed to be coming from. So it's not supposed to be page. So that's the page that we're hitting. But that's not really the one we want. We technically want, because I restricted the whole my channels folder, just to be authorized. So I need to change that at startup so that we're using the correct ones. Because I kind of just wired that in there to make sure that it worked. So we don't actually want to authorize the folder with that. We want to... So let's do options, conventions, authorize page. And we want to authorize the /my/channels/index. Actually, that's getting checked no matter what. Edit needs to have the can access channel policy. Same with details. Same with delete. And actually, you know what? Let's just do the whole folder. Let's just do the whole folder. So the whole folder is going to get the can access channel requirement, whereas my is not going to have that. Which, again, we're back where we were before, but there's a slight change that I want to use here. And that is... And I see people saying stuff in chat. I'll check that in a second. I just want to not lose my focus too much here. So you say can access channels. So I want to say if that value ends up being null, then I want to say yes, you can access it. So let's go back here, and we'll say thanks, Cat, for spinning my whole green screen. I really appreciate that. Cat's a jerk. Okay. Let's see. If arg is null, or, and I'm going to wrap these despite the fact that I don't technically have to wrap them. Only because I'm a stickler for putting those in there, despite that the order of operations will make the OR happen before the ANDs in this case. That's the change I wanted to make there. Okay, so I think if that's null or that, and then I think we can get away with this. I'm going to go ahead and try running it again. We'll see what happens when we try to go to the edit pages. All right, let me check out chat. Stay hydrated. Thank you, Bot, for always taking care of our bodies. Yes, exactly, Zunjin. Perfect. Good. After time, I would just say generally look at some Vue tutorials. Essentially, the idea, we're using some pretty standard Vue stuff, so it uses the views, like we use their mounted method, I know, and we also watch some various values at some points in this code. So take a look at that, and you should be able to make it work. Black Waltz 1, welcome, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. Auth0 Bobby, you used to use this pattern when you needed to... Whoa, hang on, whoa. I think you linked something, would be my guess, because I suddenly can't read any of your previous text. Which is funny, because it didn't yell at you about your previous link. Cat is a jerk. Yeah, it should have let you clip that. That's kind of sad that it didn't. Here we go, hang on. Congratulations, Auth0 Bobby! Congratulations! Alright, there we go. Yes, Zunjin, everybody loves my cat. Alright. I used to do this pattern when I needed to new something up like that and ensure it was being disposed properly. This pattern. With base directory using action. Using that new directory action base directory entry. Oh, for like our for our Dapper CRUD stuff. Yes. Exactly, because then whatever the operation you did just needs to get that value passed into it. That is a very nice way of reversing that. I like it, Bobby. Good way to do that one. I also am a big fan of passing things out as actions. Bobby, you should take a look at our DevChatter bot project, where I do that kind of approach a little bit with a little bit more ceremony than we do here, because I do essentially I put that kind of logic into what I call a policy, and essentially the idea is then there's testable, reusable logic for doing those kinds of operations. So we actually maintain it as an expression, so things like Entity Framework are still happy. So we actually end up compiling it when we need to use it. Exactly, SNB. I always use those parentheses. Twitch did a big old die. Robbie, I don't know what you mean. Yes, it was just a clip. Probably a clip of me yelling at my cat because he knocked my green screen around. I should say yelling about my cat because I didn't really yell at him. And exactly, hype, hype, hype. And Black Waltz 1, welcome, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. And not in progress. Thanks for that follow as well, much appreciated. I need to focus here. Wait, chat. The Wildcat means exactly, Zenjin. Yes, the cat loves to knock things down. That is his thing. He's like, ooh, yes, I can knock this down. You thought you had that in my... Okay, so that value is null, so we said it's null, so succeeds, and good, should allow us to go to the page. Fantastic. Now I want to go to the edit page. Haha, we're back in the authorize again. Again with a channel owner requirement, as we should. Wait, why is that value null? That value shouldn't be null this time. What's an action descriptor? How many? You're saying one? I just don't believe you. Saying the edit page, but route data. There's none of those. What the heck? Is that not considered part of the route? Yeah, and that just loads fine. Great. Why didn't it catch that? Oh, I love that. You want to make a forum? Migrate TV. There are a million applications on the internet that will just make forums for you. I don't remember the names of any of them. I used a bunch in the past, but you can pretty much just Google for you know, a program that'll set up a forum for you. Works basically like a content management system if you're going to take that approach. Sukaibaru, I may have just butchered your name, but welcome. Thanks for that follow, much appreciated, and welcome to the stream. Yeah, if you're just gonna make an out of the box thing, like a forum or something like that, I would just skip the coding because it's already done. Like, people already do that. I would make the same case if you want to just build a wiki or something like that. A wiki or a forum, those exist. People have made, you know, platforms where you can essentially just deploy one of those and you're essentially just configuring it and tweaking settings. If you want to build one from scratch, you certainly can. I mean, you can clearly do that. You know, grab any web framework that you like, whether it be ASP.NET Core. You know, you can do it in PHP. It doesn't really matter. There's like any framework you want, you can build one. But I'd recommend you just grab an open source one that's just out there. Yeah, see? 10 best open source forum software for Linux. Discord. I wonder if that you could just set one up. But there should be programs that can just run them. Yeah, see? So, open source PHP forum software. There's, like... I don't have a good recommendation because, you know, I don't really want to build one right now. But yeah, so Fritz did his core wiki thing, which I don't know what his reasoning for that is. But again, like the thing you do on a stream, for example, or is this is core wiki, as far as I know, is really designed more for like the learning aspect, and then at the end of the day, it becomes an open source. You know, wiki, so people could use it, and essentially becomes like one of those. The idea being that everyone doesn't need to make one because they can contribute to core wiki and just use that one. So that's kind of the idea. You can get Discourse as a Docker image, and it's relatively easy to set up. So there you go. See, Auth0 Bobby has the answer. So sounds like that might even be an endorsement of Discourse. I've heard of it, so it's probably reasonably good. We are working on a community site for our essentially the live streaming community, so that's what we're taking a look at right now. He does work in Razer pages. The reason it isn't working is because you hadn't registered the action. Because no, okay, yes, it does work, but wait, it must be registered as a singleton. What? Did I register it as a singleton? Hang on. Why must it be registered as a singleton? Why? That doesn't make sense. 19 thumbs up plus. Action context accessor? HTTP context accessor? So then when we do this, yeah, but that doesn't have the value I need. My route values aren't in it. Person on the internet. Values. How do we get your values? Yes, exactly. Yeah, invoice access. That's what we need. Totally need invoices. Context. Authorization context. Nope, that's not what we... contains route data and more. Yeah, so we should have that, but we don't. Okay, so we did get route data. Hey, Rambling Geek, welcome. You use Discourse at Auth0. Oh, okay, cool. Could you show us? Show you what, Migrated TV? This is the application we're building. Now let's check. So grab our user ID. Then we get down here and step. Did it get it that time? It won't have it yet because I didn't click on one, so that we expected to be null. Now this time, maybe it's because they didn't have it as a singleton? Maybe that's why? Nope. Still not it. And this, it's trying to load, definitely has ID equals 1. But it's not route data, it's a query string. So maybe that's what matters. Maybe that's the problem. Actually, wait, I should run that again. Let's do this. We're gonna go to my channels, and we're gonna go ahead and skip these, and click on edit right there. And now let's jump here. Let's see what else is on our context accessor. Context accessor. We have action context. Hey, welcome everyone from Code Rushed. Hopefully Mark's stream was a good one today. Welcome, Mark, if you're here. For anyone that's new and doesn't know, my name is Brendan. This channel here is DevChatter. We do a lot of ASP.NET and C# code here, some JavaScript as well. So welcome everyone. Hang on, let me put up the hype shield. You guys won't get through that. And greetings. Feel free to ask questions, hang out. I will tell you a little bit about our project that we're working on right now. We're doing an ASP.NET Core website that is designed to be a community website for the live streaming community. We want a place for people to be able to put their channel information, their schedule, stuff about their channel, so essentially you can promote your live streaming as well. So for example, Code Rush would be up here, and I believe Mark does 3 streams a week, if I'm not mistaken. For anyone that doesn't know, Mark Miller is a good friend of mine, awesome developer, streams over at Code Rushed, smart guy, and does some really crazy stuff. But he's also a part of the Live Coders stream team here, and yeah, good stuff. Check him out. Links over there in the chat for anyone that doesn't know Mark. As I said, he goes under the name Code Rushed. You'll never guess what company Mark works for. Short answer is Mark works for DevExpress, who makes a product called Code Rush. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yep, see, there it is. He and I overlap a little bit on Thursdays, which is today, obviously. Hence his ability to raid me. This says I have 3 routers. What are my 3 routers? Route collection, attribute route. For values, what do I have? values, plural, come on. And this just has page, right? So where's the rest of my values? Where is the, where do I get that one? If that's not considered route data. Renee, that's an interesting guess. It's not the right one, but it's an interesting guess all the same. Yeah, no, Mark is awesome. I really enjoy hanging out with Mark. Crazy guy over there. Author Bobby, no, I have not set up the deployment yet. I'm planning on putting it on Azure, and I was going to use an Azure pipeline in their new Azure, their newly branded Azure DevOps is where I'm planning on putting it. But it could really go anywhere because it's ASP.NET Core, so I mean I could run it on a Docker image if I want. Why were you asking, Author Bobby? So somewhere specific you think I should put it? Or are you just wondering if you can see it somewhere? Just here. Yeah, so the reason I want to put the authorization in there is once we have basic authorization and the permissions, then I'm going to put it somewhere, because then we'll have it at least locked down to, you can only create your own content kind of thing. And that'll at least be some restriction. And then the last thing I want is I need an admin page to be able to clear up any spam that we end up getting. I don't think we'll get any right away because people aren't even going to know it's going to exist, so it'll take a little while before the spam bots find it. But as soon as they do, we need to make sure that we can actually lock it down a little bit. Yeah, I usually like to do the same thing, Author Bobby, except since I knew I was planning on setting this one up to be able to, take data, and we were just kind of, we kind of start from scratch on this on the stream. I don't usually set up the CI/CD stuff on the stream, so hence I don't usually do it at the start of the project. I do it at the end of the project. It's usually what I do. So so we have this. I'm trying to figure out where that value is going to be. It's got to be somewhere. Razer page. Are they called actions? Handler methods. Maybe? What do they call them? Are they handlers? Okay. So if no head handler on head is defined, Razer pages falls back to calling the get page handler on get. Okay, so they call them handlers. Razer page handler data. Yes, this I think is what I want. Hang on. Require authenticated users. I think this is it. Okay, here we go. Contact is owner authorization handler. Pass in the contact. Okay, they're passing in the contact. Did they call this somewhere? You better not have created this. This better be used from an attribute or something. Yeah, that's where it is, but where does it get called? Ah, the silly things. Yeah, no, Ozzy Bobby, I think it actually is a very good policy to have that in place, even if you are just pushing it somewhere that's not actually live, for example. So if you pushed it to a location but had like the site turned off on your website, that'd probably be a much better way to do it. And yes, then as you add each dependency, you do wire it up at that point. So yes, it is a very good idea to start off your projects that way. Let's see, so... Register the handlers with the service collection so they're available. And add the following code to configure services. Yeah. You add them in there, that's fine. Ours are in there. They're singletons because they don't use EF and all the information needed is in the context parameter and the handler requirement. Yes. If we could get that value passed in, then that would work. Page model. DI page model. Authorization service. Yeah, it ends up with the authorization service. That you'd then have to manually call, which I guess we can do. I just was hoping to, yeah, okay, so is authorized, and then passing in the information there. But that's not really how I want to set that up. See, because they're putting this directly inside of the method, and I was hoping to have it just be called off of an attribute. I was really hoping to have an attribute instead of calling an isAuthorized method inside of each thing. That's just silly. Hang on a second, everyone. I'll check the chat in a minute. I'm just trying to look through this. Yeah, so they don't actually do that. That's a real bummer. They don't show how to do what I'm actually trying to do. Maybe they don't want me to. Okay, so, growing object-oriented software. Yeah, sounds like an awesome book. I will have to check it out and take a look at it. Matukas, hey, greetings, welcome. Horkrine, yes, we're using identity, and you can use authorized attribute to check it against identity logins. Yes, so we are trying to use an authorized attribute style approach, but we're trying to get the value, and it may end up being that I don't take this route and end up using an action filter instead. Robert Tables, welcome. Thanks for that follow, much appreciated. And hey, greetings. Yes, it is almost Friday. We're here on our Thursday afternoon. Which you can use as standalone logins or with a link to ADFS if you want. And hi, yep, welcome back, Horkrine. Yeah, haven't seen you in a while. You just got your .dev domains. Nice, Rambling Geek. I did not go for any of the .dev domains. I looked at a few and decided not to. Yes, Horkrine, Little Bobby Tables has joined us. And Fleisch, welcome, Fleisch. Have a good lurk. Much appreciated. You won the naming lottery, as it were. Thanks to what is his name? Randall Monroe. Thanks to Randall Monroe, you have the Little Bobby Tables, we call him. I wanted to... The XKCD author, for anyone that doesn't know. I wanted to get foobar.dev, but someone beat me to it by paying through the nose for it. Yeah, there are a handful of those that I did look at some of the .dev domains back when it was going to cost like $750 or something like that. And yeah, the funny thing being, I believe I have... So Robert Tables posted a link in here without having any permissions, but that second link probably just got nuked. Oh, dev.dev. Yep, that is a link. So the funny thing, so Robert Tables, no, you actually got away with the link the first time. I was going to comment on this because XKCD comics are whitelisted. Because I'm like, oh yeah, XKCD links? No, totally fine. Those can go through the chat. Don't worry about it. The bot's overzealous about stuff. So it is funny that, yeah, dev.dev. I don't know if anyone got that or not, but this is the comic that everybody was talking about. And it's essentially a joke about sanitizing your inputs before you make calls in SQL. The joke being, of course, that if you literally did name your kid Robert, single quote, close paren, semicolon, drop table students, semicolon, dash, dash, the kid would probably be able to nuke some data somewhere. You know, even legitimately, because I'm sure there's a system somewhere that doesn't sanitize their inputs. I've worked on plenty where you could get away with that kind of stuff. Oh, yes, thanks, Orcrine, for reposting the link that got, you know, hidden by our bot. So, the thing we're trying to do is this. We're trying to make... So we have a custom authorization handler that we set up, and we're trying to get access to the route data. Now the problem is that I think this works the way it does with Brain, do your thing. With MVC, so with a controller, with an API controller, but it doesn't work right with a Razer page, it seems. Unless, wait, hang on, I've got an idea. Wait, the brain's doing brain things for a second. Let the brain do its brain things for a second, Brendan. Hang on. So we're gonna go to my channel. Do I have the... No, okay. So we're gonna drop these back in here, because I want to see what happens. Brain's doing brain things right now. I had a thought. Let's copy that link. Because instead of doing and ID equals 1, I want to try this and see if it lets me route it. It doesn't. Okay, how did I do that? I believe I need to adjust the way the route works. Let's take a look. Hang on. I think I know the way to do this. Oh, whoops, wrong one. Wrong one. I tricked myself. Hang on. Ah, click. Manage channels index. And I see people talking in chat. Give me 1 second and I will be right there to take a look. Okay, so that's index. That value, so that route ID equals that. Okay, route channel ID equals that. Yeah. Let me try this. Route channel ID equals that. Hang on. Let me see what I did here. Page channel ID. Yeah. Okay, hang on. I think I may have this. I think I may have a way to do this. This might be mildly cheating. We're going to see if we can do it. If this works, I might try adjusting it to be int instead, and we'll see what happens. So this has to be channel ID now. One sec. You guys are probably saying all kinds of insightful things, and I'm missing them. I promise I will look. Just let me finish this thing I'm doing so I don't forget to do this, and then try to run it, and you guys are all like, derp. Okay, and I'm back. Tons of fun. Welcome, thanks for following, much appreciated. Okay, so we're... Hey, Robert Tables, thanks for the tier 1 sub, much appreciated. Welcome to the DevChatter, I don't know, hype crew? I don't know, we're going with hype crew? I don't know. The Chattosauruses. Do please enjoy your emotes and eggs and such, hype, 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 and welcome. Hang on, Robert Tables, yep. Drop Table Nightbot, wow, good job, Robert Tables, you totally killed that Nightbot. By the way, is this a spa? After time. No, we are not building a spa on this one. We are a multi-page application. One of the other projects we're working on is going to be more like a spa, I think. We're building a website with ASP.NET. It's .NET Core, MVC, and Razer pages. And link slumps. Yeah, it's going to work a little bit like a lot of different tech. So you're gonna when you're working with all of these, whether it be Laravel or MVC or any of these, they're all gonna look a little bit similar because they all take a similar approach. That's one of the things that I'm really happy about in the state of web development right now, is that almost everybody has moved to this style of coding. Where is and can you do something about this, like path.value? The HTTP context accessor, yeah, it doesn't quite get us the value that we want. I'm hoping my change here will make it so it does give us that value. Thanks, Horkrine, yeah. No, I was definitely getting excited there about this because I'm hoping it's going to work. Heartwarming when you see a fellow dev get that look in their eye and say, yeah, exactly, I think I figured out what it is. So, you can see in my, yes, so I do think I solved it. So, Link Slumps, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. And yes, Zunjin, Vue.js is the new hotness. I don't know, Vue.js is the new hotness. And Zunjin, yes, technically you are correct. The spa project that I was talking about is the one that if anyone follows me on Twitter, you would probably have seen me yesterday tweet that I was actually going to finally mess with TypeScript again. I used TypeScript many years ago for a little while, and I can tell you... Oh, jeez, Crimson Green, thank you for the heads up! God, oh man, I wasn't even paying attention. Hang on, sorry everyone. Tickets. Ticket. Yep, ticket. I would like one before they run out. Oh god. Ugh. Hang on. One sec. I forget, do I still have my volume going? Yes, I do. Okay, good. You guys can still hear me. Fantastic. Luckily... Crimson Green was here to remind me. What's my job title? Developer, cool. That's good. That is the size shirt I wear. I will not do that. Technologies I work with, like all of them, I work with all the technology. There's not a technology I don't work with. Well, except for that one. Let me click all the buttons. Yeah, I don't do that, I don't do that, I do that, I don't do that, I don't do that, I don't do that. No, I do that, I do that, I do that. I do that, I do that, I do that. There we go. Clicky the buttons. Yes, I agreed to whatever your terms were. I do not need childcare for the day, but thank you for offering. There we go, ticket ordered. Alright, so, for anyone that is wondering, I had to buy a conference ticket there really fast. They go on sale, so, and I'm back. You gotta love how Crypts agreed just like, Star Trek tickets, go, go, go! And I was like, oh, right, yeah, I was totally not paying attention. Now that we're done with that interruption, sorry about that, everyone. So, you guys, I met MNView. This is the worst Meatloaf cover ever. Did I say some kind of quote from a Meatloaf song and I didn't even realize it? I probably did, I believe you. That sounds like something I would unintentionally do at some point. Yeah. Didn't mean to click those. Alright, let's find out if this worked. So I think I may have managed to trick it. And we're about to find out if I have managed to trick Razer Pages into doing what I want it to do. If this works, that'll be really, really awesome. If it doesn't work, that'll just be stupid. Alright, so first one, this comes through and it's just fine because we're not on a page that has it yet, I think. Oh, I'm not logged in because it changed my browser. Thanks, thing. Alright, there we go. That's the correct browser. And go to my channels. There we go. And clicky clicky. It gets us here. And then we want to click edit. Let's see, where is it taking us? Still null, but did it get me the value into the right place? 2. That's interesting. Channel ID is now a value. Success! Success! Yes! Woohoo! It worked! It worked! So that you guys were all commenting about the smile and the look of excitement when I thought I'd figured it out. That was it. That was it. That does it. I just needed to tell Razer Pages that's part of the route. So here's the problem. Alright, so inside of the action context, I don't have access to a query string parameter. It doesn't give me those, but it does give me route data. And the problem is, the values inside of my my little action here, this channel data value, it came from the query string, not from the route. So by changing it to be the route, it will then work. In order for this to wire up then, as part of the route instead of part of the instead of just being part of the query string, I needed to tell it that in its page. So in the page declaration, I put it here. I think I can get away with switching this back to just being ID, which I'm going to try. So we've seen it work once. I'm going to switch this back to ID. We're going to make these ID again. Which actually, I'm going to cheat those back by doing this. That's a CSHTML. I don't actually need that authorized attribute either, so we're going to discard that. We're going to discard that. I'm going to discard that. Now I just need to go to the CSHTML files, change this from channel ID to ID, and I think I'm going to have to go back to where I linked to them, but I think that will get them to be part of the route instead of... Okay, I don't need it here because this is getting all channels, so there is no channel ID on this one, but in the links to them, so the index.cshtml file, this one, these switch back. So let's do that. Alright, route ID equals those. So that's going to use ID as the route. So it's now on the route instead of a query string. So I think that will do it. Let's try this again. The next thing we need to do is we need to make sure our authorize attribute accepts a parameter, because we're going to want to make an exception for this. Because we're going to want to put in that name so we get the right parameter when we call it each time. That way, if someplace it calls it channel ID and someplace it calls it ID, we get the correct one. So we go there, argument is null, that's fine, it should be for this page. But then when I click here, we should have an argument of 1. 1! Got it! That's 1 right there. It's very small, but it is indeed 1. So that should have given us access, not an access denied. Wow. So it's still got us almost there. I don't know why we got a why did we get an access denied on that? Let's try that again. Rigged. How did you become a Microsoft MVP? Link Slump, I am not an MVP. I was an MVP in the past. I believe I'm currently under evaluation to be one again. So maybe they will make me an MVP one more time. Let's see. You've used Excel products a ton and constantly used MVP stuff when I was stuck. So I used to be a Microsoft MVP mostly because I would go around talking about ASP.NET at lots of conferences. I would answer lots of questions on forums. I would write lots of blog posts. I would write articles for websites. I managed some newsletters. I managed some mailing lists, and as well as some hilariously communication like email network, like no, threads, email, something or other. The things were like you email a thing and there's a whole group of, I don't remember what they were called, discussion email groups. Anyway, the point being, I did a lot of stuff for ASP.NET. I then also am an ASP insider, so I get a lot of early access and talk with Microsoft about ASP.NET and the direction that they take in it, and that sort of thing. Yes, lots of like things people sign up to be in and are actually like discussion groups. Is probably a better description of them, Zunjin. So anyway, I used to do a lot of that kind of stuff back in the day, and then at one point I stopped doing all that stuff for ASP.NET and started doing almost everything I talked about was Agile and TDD, and while I still use C#, almost none of it was specific to ASP.NET or any Microsoft technology, and I just suddenly shunted out of the MVP program. I have not actually been a Microsoft MVP for a number of years now. Last year, someone nominated me to be a Microsoft MVP, and I am currently still being evaluated as far as I know. I don't know how long they take with that process, because I never really knew about it even the first time when I was a Microsoft MVP. But we will see. It's a nice thing because you get access to the Microsoft Teams in some ways, some good communication. So it's a nice program in some ways. So. I would be honored if they do pick me to be one, but who knows? I don't know who else they're evaluating. I do think that so as far as I know, there is no one that gets an MVP award that is a developer streamer on the internet. Now, I do think that they should consider that when evaluating MVPs. If you look at like literally the number of hours, so I don't know if you guys know this, but I do because I've looked at my stats. But the amount of time that I have spent streaming this past year is insane. As you might have noticed, we're on episode 174 of DevChatter. And, well, hang on, let me click these buttons here, because they'll just tell me. We have time streamed. About 500 hours streamed of DevChatter. So 500 hours of streaming. That is... Yeah, this is episode 174. We've had about, That is hours streamed. That is not like time I've put into DevChatter. That is just on the stream. Like, so I cannot imagine. Like, I must have put in like 1,000 hours of work into this, which, you know, basically means that I picked up like so I'm an independent consultant, so I do a lot of like client work and things like that. And then I picked up this. So this was a big time commitment, but it's been awesome. So we built a cool community, we built a lot of cool stuff, and had a lot of fun along the way. So it's awesome stuff. Let's see, the couple of times you rated me. Glad to hear it, Robert. You're also a consultant, yes. Yeah, so that's why everything I do on the stream is custom projects. So we just do stream projects here on DevChatter because I don't want to deal with the legality of working on any of my client stuff on stream, as that gets into a gray area. Even if you get permission, it's still a huge gray area because you're kind of like, well, maybe. I don't know what the consequences of doing this are. So, all right, so that did an access denied on that. So we're gonna go back to this. It says succeeded. Complete the task. Where did I just go? Back to this page. Okay. So let's go to the edit page, and it skips right by, so it did not succeed. So the can access channel must not have worked. So that's the problem. Clearly. So let's drop the breakpoint here, and then let's edit this. So what happened? So first off, arg is an int. It's gotta be. It's not an int. Because it's an int question mark? Alright, we're gonna do that. It's gonna be a nullable int. Can it not do that? Okay, as int question mark then, we're not going to do it that way. So we're going to cast it as an int question mark, and we'll say if it is null, you can go through. Otherwise, we're going to do this, which means I don't need my extra paren anymore. And we'll do arg.value. And since we did this, I'll rename it to ID. Which I don't like doing it that way, but I'm wondering if that's going to solve the problem. Okay, so, yes, exactly. NDAs, they are super important. And NDAs protect business from all kinds of problems they could run into. So, as annoying as they are to have to work around, they are very important in a lot of industries. Okay, so this gets in here, and now it works. Okay. So it didn't like our ID value being checked. So now permission should be in there. Okay, cool. So that is adding that. So we're calling this one channel permission service we set up. This is the handler that we created. Channel owner requirement is the requirement that we put on there. And then these and that. This value, what did we change? Oh, spacing. Wonderful. I'm like, we didn't change that much stuff. Okay, and then this is adding in the authorization. Okay, so add authorization, add auth check to channel pages. We still need to get these on the controller. There, we're not done yet. We are not done yet. So that's the other big thing. I was playing about with the Twitch API for the lucky search feature. Your response came back as 70,000 total views, I think. James, wait, your response came back as 70,000 total views? Oh, yeah, James. So the Twitch API is actually pretty good to work with. I don't know if you looked at looked at everything there. The arg is null or line seems iffy to me. Yeah, link sumps. There's some. So I was using pattern matching for it, and I'm guessing pattern matching can't deal with the nullable types, which I think was causing the problem there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I thought I would be able to do that, Auth0 Bobby, but which I'm just gonna call you Bobby from now on, because that's much easier to say. And then Robert will be Robert Tables, so we won't get our little Bobby Tables and Auth0 Bobby mixed up. And yes, 70,000 is a heck of a lot of views, which you can see down below the channel if you look at that. Had a nullable boolean recently, was a check. Is it not can be determined? So Github Desktop, gotcha. Yeah, so we are using Github Desktop on here. I mainly use it because it then can be the only GUI application that so I use it exclusively for stream things, so that I have a GUI that doesn't get anything else mixed up with it. So if I do any other coding on this computer, we only have DevChatter stuff in that one. It's also got a pretty clean interface and handles pull requests well, which is good for a stream. I don't know. Oh, Socianator, hey, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. As in the DevChatter total view count. Yes, exactly. Yep, I got what you meant, James. Can you do an arg equals null, or does that error? A check for the null. Oh, so I wanna. That actually is a huge point. I want to point that out. So everybody, pay attention. C# lesson. So here was the question. Can I do ID? Well, let me do this. So the question was, I did ID is null. I think the question was whether or not I could do ID equals null. And the thing I want to point out here is those are two different operations. So within C#, this, like ID is null, will check if ID is null. Which I know that sounds hilarious that I just said that and you're like, Brendan, I know that. But the problem is, many of you would tell me that this is the same check, and it's not. And the reason why I, as a C# developer, cannot change how this works. I mean, without like, you know, getting really crazy. I can't change how is null check works. I can very easily change how equality works for an object. And so if I change how equality is evaluated for an object, I can change how the equals check works. So this is not always guaranteed to be the same thing. This check also could have additional things. Maybe I check 5 other things. So you could mess with the performance, you could mess with the evaluation, you could make nulls handled differently for null checks on an object if you want. The point is, an is null check is always an is null check. Yeah, exactly. I can't, an equality check can be whatever you want. This is, you know, this could be the same thing as if I wrote like, you know, an extension method that were like is null, right? I mean, it's the same concept. You've given the power to the developer here, and an is null, so this, that I don't have control of, that is really going to evaluate it. So, important thing to note, if you are doing null checks, do them as an is null, because it's a little bit safer. Yep, I can overload the, I would say operator overloading. But yeah, you could call it operator overriding. It'd probably be the same thing. I don't think I've heard that one. When should I use it? Always? Yes, Plutonin. If you're checking for null, always do an is null. There's no reason not to do an is null. Yes, exactly. That's why. Yeah, exactly. Renee and Dungeons West. That's why I wanted to grab everybody's attention for a second. It's not a huge deal, but if you did override your equality check, it might do some other checks first. Because the way you wrote your equality evaluation may have checked a bunch of other stuff first, so you either could, you know, screw with performance, or it could, like, error before checking for null because someone wrote it wrong. Who knows? So, with great power comes great... Thanks, Robert Tables. Yeah, the important stuff. We all know that phrase. We all know that one. pretty much everybody here is some kind of nerd. Okay, so those are committed. We have this. I mentioned that we wanted to get the controller. So channel controller, there we go. So in some fashion, this should be able to get authorized. Get by ID a channel. I think, oh, that's to the edit model. Yeah, we want to authorize this. And we need to pull these strings out. I don't like these magic strings. We need to get rid of them. We need to create some kind of something somewhere that has these. To do, extract this magic string. We'll get to that later. For now, I just want to make sure that works. That is posting the edit of a channel. So those both need that restriction. I am going to move this to the other spot where that is, just so that we make sure that we get them all, since I know it's here. I'll put it there, even though it's off by a couple of lines. There we go. Okay. Nerd alert. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, no. Renee, sorry, I just unblocked your comment there, but yes, I totally agree. If someone overrides equality that way, oh man, you're gonna rip that person a new one. But the trick is that, like, we all sit there and we go, no one should ever do that. Do you know how many times as devs we've said, no one should ever do that? And then you find the person that did that and you're like... Case in point, I have seen 100,000 line files, single files that exceed 100,000 line and were not auto-generated. They were created by devs. And I sit there and I'm like, I don't know how it got to that point. I don't know what anyone was thinking. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was like expectations of a project, like timing pressure, just naivety. I don't know. But like 100,000 lines. I'm not even kidding. And it's like, what? What? Like, what are you doing? And so we sit there and we go, oh yeah, devs should never do that. Yeah, okay. I don't always trust us. I don't always trust us. When I typed operator overriding into Google, I was corrected to operator overloading. Nice. Yes, exactly, Sushinator. Yep. And I love that Google can figure out what you meant, because the words sound similar. So like in your memory, it'll just do that, and then Google undoes them. Let's see. What do you use for DI, the ASP.NET Core abstractions for AutoFac? Dungeon Smasher. So in this project, we are using just the built-in IOC from ASP.NET Core, using just the standard like services.add. In our DevChatter bot project, we are using AutoFac, I believe, which, if you don't know what AutoFac is, that's like the structure map replacement. There's someone overrides you. Wait, hang on. Maybe Google is wrong and you are right, Sushi. Yeah, totally could be. No, Robert Tables, that person was not me 9 months ago. One thing I dislike about overriding is that you override equals. You also have to override the hash code. Yes, Sushinator, that is very true. Implementing equality does require a lot of extra work.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
Hey, wow, man, I'm gonna have to guess. That's either D. Raven Ale or Draven Ale. Either way, welcome. Stool Penner! Thank you very much for the Twitch Prime. That's gotta be a resub. It doesn't say resub, but it's gotta be a resub. And welcome to both of you. Thanks for those subs today. And I will. Hang on. And a hype in the channel. Welcome to the DevChatter crew. We have. Okay, so cool. Second one. So I think I said the second one I did was Draven Ale. Awesome. Thanks, glad I did get your name right, one of those. For anyone, actually, that goes, if I don't get your name right, even if I've been messing it up for like months, just go ahead and tell me, or if I was getting it right for a while and I start screwing it up, just tell me. Names are so hard, like in so many ways. I try my best, but if I screw it up, just let me know. Or if I nickname you in some way that you're like, hey, I don't like that nickname, can you use this one instead? Feel free to let me know, don't worry about it. As long as, you know, the nicknames are still like fairly PG. But awesome, welcome. Thanks for that sub. And one big thing I want to point out to everybody, Twitch has actually started allowing channels to have more emotes. So the emotes that we use in chat, we have the hype and the derp emote, but in March we will unlock more, and in April we'll unlock more emotes. So we will be getting more emotes because they've finally realized that affiliates should have more than one emote. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. Like, that was ridiculous. I don't know why they locked us out. Okay, so these attributes I think are going to work. And do I want to... yeah, well... I forget if I have Postman on it. I'm going to add Swagger into the project, just so you all know. So if you don't know what Swagger is essentially a library that we're going to pull into the project. That what it does is it will make it so that our API has actual display pages for seeing all the information. The reason we're going to do that is we're going to make some of our API calls public. Actually, pretty much all of our API calls are going to be publicly accessible. And the reason is that we want other systems to be able to pull this data. We actually think it's really useful that people be able to find out information about live coding streams. The entire point of this site is to help grow the community, so we want people to be able to do that. So that's the big thing there. So we are going to make these public. So that also then does mean that we are going to need to put a lot of restrictions on some of these, like actually having good authorization for what data you can access. So editing stuff, I'm not planning on having people edit stuff unless you are actually logged into the site. I wasn't going to get that open with the API, but the idea is that like you can edit here, but then not over that. So the public API is going to be a pull only, so read-only API. And Sushinator, yes, battle.net is technically also a link, and Nightbot is overzealous and mean, and it struck you down. Sorry about that. You should connect your BattleNet to Twitch. Some StarCraft 2 content for Prime. Yes! I didn't know there was some Prime stuff right now, but some of the cool stuff, for a while they were giving out free things, and then they've got like a bunch of Overwatch League stuff if you're into that. So I've earned all kinds of Overwatch League emotes on my like personal account. I use 2 accounts, so if you ever see me, go, so obviously, my name is Brendonius. Brendan is my name. I go by Brendonius a lot of places on the internet. I stream here as DevChatter. Yeah, that's kind of how that stuff works. Hang on while I click a couple of buttons, everyone. Clicking buttons. Did we not get a... where? Hang on. Huh. Okay. Oh, that is hilarious. Oh man. Oh, I'm pulling this on the screen. So I went to go look and see what our Dallas was doing right now on his stream. So we're pulling up our Dallas's stream because this is funny. My friend Steve, who goes on the internet by the name Ardalis, he just like by my friend Steve, we're like, friends in like the dev workspace, but also he lives about 5 miles that way, and he's a really awesome guy. Anyway, this is what's going on over there. I was thinking like, oh yeah, we can raid him, see what he's doing, but I'm noticing that Steve has the Star Trek analytics pulled up here, And I love this. There's like, it's like, oh yeah, you can see like what's going on. So this is a conference that takes place in Ohio. Steve's one of the board members of Stir Trek, if I remember correctly, and he does all their website and everything like that. And over on so Stir Trek's tickets went on sale today, about 30 minutes ago. That's actually what Crimson Green chimed in and yelled at me about. He's like, hey, the tickets went on sale, and I was like, oh crap, and I had to go buy them real fast. But this is the he has the stats pulled up, so you can see actively like who's live on the Stir Trek site and doing what right now. So that's actually kind of neat, because you can see like, yeah, I mean, I guess not who, but how many people. So like it's kind of neat. Like the conference tickets go on sale. It probably spiked. Yeah, Robert Tables. He's just streaming the stats. So he's got like. Looks like 16 people, 16, 17 people. I looked at one number and there's another number that's both there, but he's got like, over a dozen people just sitting there watching the stats right now. So that's kind of funny. And you can see as people are hitting the pages, like, where are they? So they're looking at the schedules and the speakers. So sadly, I did not get a speaking slot at Stir Trek this year, which is disappointing. I was hoping to speak at Stir Trek this year, but no, I won't get to. What's Gareth doing right now? I don't know what the sheet is behind him. That's not a green screen sheet. That's like a white sheet. We need to get him a green sheet. Well. Yeah, kind of fun. So anyway, so a couple of things that we mentioned here on the stream, because I wasn't talking about much. Sound is overlapping. Oh, yeah, no, I've got this tab is muted. See right there? The audio is muted, even if someone's doing something. I shouldn't get that double sound there. Yeah, no problem, Sushinator. Hey, Matukas. It's, or is it Matukas? I don't know. Because that can mean two things. But welcome, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. We're doing pretty well here on the stream today. We just made a couple of changes. I want to check and I'm going to wrap up the stream here, despite the fact that I wanted to stick around and stream until our good friend S&B was going to start up. I think he's starting in about 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably raid Gareth and hope that Gareth is going to stick around long enough that everybody can follow over to S&B's stream after that. Because I do want everybody to actually, yeah. How shortly S&B is shortly like now or like 20 minutes from now. So anyway, 5 minutes. Oh, we can hang on for 5 minutes. So then we'll take a look at this. Let's see if this works. Yeah, because I was thinking I still had like 20 minutes until you were going live, but because I was gonna wrap up the stream. I didn't want to stream too long. I've got some other stuff I have to do today. Specifically insurance stuff, which is not fun. See, I got to wrap my streaming in insurance stuff, so not fun. For anyone that wasn't here at the beginning, I was talking about the fact that we had a big windstorm here recently, and it managed to knock a tree onto my garage. So that's not fun. Tell us how you got your first programming job. Depends on what you mean by first programming job, Auth0 Bobby. Or my first experience with programming. I guess all of these depend. So my early programming was JavaScript back in the 90s. That was my first stuff programming that was not paid stuff back when I first started using JavaScript. Let's see, I did a bunch of things with BASIC and other things. My first paid programming job was shortly after that, and I was doing ASP.NET. Whoa, wrong word. I was about to say ASP.NET Classic, but no, that's not true, because funny enough, that's what we call ASP.NET Classic now. It was using Classic ASP, that's the right word. So Classic ASP, yep, I got those right words out there. So Web Dev Classic ASP, doing applications for a university. So I was building internal applications for the tech teams at a university. So Yeah, exactly. See, classic ASP. It's good. It was good stuff back then. And so essentially, the idea is there were tech groups around the university that needed to keep track of all the tasks and everything they were doing, and they wanted to be able to have web pages for all the staff around the university to be able to enter in tickets. So I built a ticketing system where people could enter in tickets and things like that to be able to let us know, if their computer wasn't working or there was something wrong with it, or be able to, like, hey, in this lab, this computer gave us this problem, and they could put that in there, and then a tech would go out and take a look at things. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. They're standard nowadays, but they weren't back then, link slumps. So it worked out really well. So we had some interesting features. So like some of the hilarity being that like the application. So first, it would. If anyone ever, so the page would automatically update. So you just had to be on the page. You did not need to like go click refresh. So if you just had that page open, which everyone that worked in any of those tech groups always had that page open on their computer, it would be automatically just checking to see it would be polling to see when there were new tickets entered in, and then would pull that data in. And when it would do that, if anyone entered in a ticket that was at the highest priority level, it would change the background of the site to be this like, essentially reddish kind of color, not like burn your eyes red, but like get your attention, kind of like a, like there was a red pattern in it that we put in there so that you'd kind of be like, whoa, hey, something's going on. And then the funny thing was it would actually start, we set it up so it would like trigger alert sounds to play on the speakers in all the in your tech room until someone acknowledged it. So you didn't have to do anything about it. You just had to acknowledge, hey, I've seen this. I saw that this was in here, and I assigned it to someone. So it's basically, I saw your ticket, I've prioritized it, and that's when the alarm gets to turn off. But that was kind of the idea. So it was like, it's like, no, if you put one of those in, that was basically the, like, I need this fixed immediately, it can't wait. Because again, as I said, it was a university. So what that would usually mean is, this is impacting a currently in process, like, class that can't run without this. So yeah, so link slumps, it was actually very effective. The like tech team wanted it and appreciated it because that meant they could get to a classroom like right now. It was basically we need someone to run across a building and get somewhere at this moment. So like it was very good. And yeah. Oh yeah, see, look, more people. So Coding Karma. It's not often I hear the 90s and JavaScript in the same sentence. Yeah. I was a JavaScript person in the 90s as well. See, and Auth0 Bobby was. Yeah, exactly. So JavaScript was a pain back in the 90s, and we did silly stuff with it, but you could totally do that. Yes, Sushnader, it was absolutely like a read alert. It was not that sound, but it was that kind of sound. We had an alarm sound that ran. So we wanted it to be like an annoying, like, get your attention sound, but it was not like as repetitive as like the read alert was, because we wanted you to notice it, but we didn't want you to like be annoyed by it. So if you were still working, you could keep working, and someone had to go and acknowledge it, assign it, and run to it. The alternate option to turn off that sound was to be like, no, that's not actually an emergency. It's so and so again, who always thinks all of his requests are top priority. So yep, quite silly, but no, that was actually the first stuff that I was doing, was like where I was paid to be a programmer. It was good stuff. I also managed the servers for one of those teams, so that meant I did a lot of stuff with IIS and other things like that as well. So that was actually very helpful in the beginning of like of my career, was to pick up a lot of information, not just about like how the development process worked, but I picked up a lot of ops knowledge as well. So I think that's been very valuable in my career, and getting exposed to that right at the beginning, I think, has always been helpful. So if you are a dev, especially a beginner dev out there, I really, really recommend learn both the ops side of things and the dev side of things. It's really helpful. Eventually you're going to want to dig into the things like, make sure you learn a little bit about what design's doing, learn about the testing, learn about QA, learn about UX, learn about all of these things at least a little bit. I promise you it makes dev easier, and you also work better with everybody that's doing those tasks. That's one of the big things out there, is being able to communicate and empathize with what everybody else is doing. The worst thing is when you end up with like a dev team and an ops teams that are at heads, and they're just butting heads against each other, and they don't really know what the other one's doing, and they just argue about stuff. Those are some of the worst situations you can be in within an organization. But if as a dev you know what the ops person's doing, or if as an ops person you know what the dev's building, you suddenly get along a lot better, and you understand. You're like, oh yeah, no, they just messed up. It's so easy to make that mistake, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I'm not mad at this person anymore, and I understand the problem. So it's really, really huge helpful thing. Sorry, let me catch up on chat here. There was this thing called VBScript. Yeah, VBScript. There's still a thing called VB. Wait, don't forget to finish my options code. Wait, what? Did I have options code that I was doing somewhere? Wait, what? I was doing something? Link slump. Let me know if I forgot to do something that I left undone. Because if I did, I would love to know about it. The problem about making such a thing today is that someone somewhere is going to find a way to make you their slave with it. Yeah, so coding karma, that does kind of happen, but essentially, so the nice thing is, at least the way the university I worked at structured things, the tech departments did not work for the professors. They worked for the people that ran the colleges. So they would work directly for the heads of the colleges, which meant that those annoying professors that were always on your back, you reported to the same boss they did. So despite the fact that they outranked you, they did not have authority over you, which was really, really useful, because you could just kind of be like, well, you actually have to talk to your boss about that. And if he wants to tell me to do whatever this crazy thing is you're doing, then, but, I've gotten permission to turn these down unless it's like really, So, big thing. University. If anyone here has worked at a university, I can tell you those things are full of politics, and it is a pain. And yes, Author Bobby, I agree. It used to be so nice when you could just view source on a page and see how it worked. That's actually a lot of how I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, because even back in the early days of CSS, you could just look at it and see how it works. That's harder to do now. It's gotten so complicated that, like, even if you go to a site, you're like, wow, that's really cool, how'd they do that? And, like, we have all these great dev tools now, but, man, the code's gotten so complicated, it's hard to track down, because you're like, well, it's actually getting modified by, like, 12 different things, and you're like, what? What? Like, what do you mean? It's got 12 different things changing what that styling is. Okay. So really, really crazy. Tell everybody just tired when you hop it off. Sushinator, have a good one. Sorry if I missed you. Is it possible there, guys? Way less notably. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's part of the challenges. But even if you if you or the other person is more experienced than the other one, treat it as a learning thing. And hopefully you can help each other out with that. That's a function that calls within the brackets, my bad. Oh, yeah, no problem, Link Slumps. I don't get paid more for doing it, programming just takes a hit. Yeah, that's the challenge. Lambda functions, aren't they? Yes, Link Slumps, Lambda functions, exactly. I sometimes, if I'm doing this kind of Lambda function, I always write it like this with the arrow here. When I'm doing a Lambda expression that's just a symbol, it's just a simple one, a lot of times what I'll do is I will put the Lambda on its own line. So where's an example of one of those? Where's a single line Lambda somewhere? This one, for example. So like sometimes I'll write them like this, where, whoops. Where I will do, I can't type today. Where I'll do one of these, and the reason I do that is because I like to see at the beginning of a line, like what the deal is with it. Now some people like going the other way, where they put this up here, and then because they like seeing this to remind them, oh, follow down to the next line. And these kinds of things just come down to preference. So there's all kinds of stuff with that. I think multiple names for the same thing in JS, we call them arrow functions. Yeah, no, Draven, we call them arrow functions here too. We call them arrow, like it's fat arrow functions, lambda expressions, lambda functions, whatever you want to call them. They're pretty much the same thing. They exist in a lot of languages. They don't always use that format, but that was one of the things that actually bugged me. So, so many of you probably know that. So like a lot of the regulars already know. So I do mostly C# programming here. Although the funny part being that we do JavaScript also. And as you guys learned from our story about early programming, I was doing JavaScript in the 90s. Now it was very different. And then I stopped using it for a while because I can tell you it was very painful at some points. JavaScript got better again and then I liked it again. However, so it is funny that JavaScript is actually the language I've used for, you know, a longer period of time, even though C# seems to be this one, but seems to be the one that I use mostly. Before I switched to C#, a lot of you know, I actually programmed in Python. And so when I programmed in Python, I had lambda expressions. When I switched to C#, I lost them. And that's one of the things that annoyed me. And people would be like, what? Why? What do you use lambda expressions for? I'm like, well, lambda expressions are actually super nice because you can essentially just encapsulate and pass around logic, and which lets you work at a different level. Whoops, sorry, I hit my thing. So that's one of those cool things. Yes, that exactly what Bobby just mentioned there in the chat. The delegates in C#, which is hilariously enough. It's funny, we were talking about Steve Smith, who goes by Ardalis a little bit ago. Steve Smith is actually the guy that got me to switch from Python to C#. And I told him back then, I'm like, no, these delegates are not lambdas. Like, yeah, they serve the same purpose, but like, they are not. They are not. Like, it's just not there. And yes, Robert Tables there mentioning the functional programming. So one of the things that I love about C# is that it is a growing, improving language. It's a mature language, but it is growing. And functional programming is the key. Literally, all the stuff that they added, all the dynamic language runtime stuff that they put in there, hey, we're going to let .NET support all these other languages, including F#, that is where they started drawing all the inspiration and all the tech for all the new stuff. So as they made F# work, they had to make .NET be able to support it. So .NET supports all these fancy things. Hey, let's pull these concepts into C#. Boom, huge benefits for the C# community. And we're like, oh look, we got LINQ, we got lambda expressions. We're now getting like expression-bodied members and all kinds of other stuff, and pattern matching, and we're getting all this neat stuff that's like, wow, that's not really cool. That stuff's not usually in a language like C#, and we're getting all this neat stuff. Now, other languages are doing the same kinds of improvements, but it is neat and awesome to be seeing these kinds of things come into our programming languages because, well, hey, like, why not write code better? And wow, I'm trying to guess how you'd pronounce that name. Nenth? Because I'm treating the 3 as an E there because I'm a nerd, but either way, if that's N3NTH, either way, welcome, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. If anyone else is in here and hasn't clicked that follow button, be sure to do so, as that is actually the best way to get notified when we go live here on the stream, which we do stream here 4 times a week on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So lots of good stuff. Stream's been around for a while. We're going to be around for a while longer. This is stream 174 of DevChatter, so quite crazy. And yes, LINQ really did change the way people write C#. Really, really did. It is hard to imagine programming in C# without lambdas anymore. Functional programming and managing state in at least a sane way. Yes. Us C# developers, we don't always do that as well. The F# developers tend to do that a little bit better. We do try though, and there are some ways to improve it. Nenth is correct. Oh well, yeah, that kind of thing happens. But either way, at least I read it right the first time. And welcome. Thanks for that follow, and thank you for confirming that I did get it right. At least I hope. It sounds like I got it right. Back in the day, we didn't have generics in C# either. Oh, yeah, but generics we got it in C# 2, right? With VS 2005. So generics came pretty early, at least. So just a few years before we got that. So very, very important, nice stuff. Always nice. Always nice. Let me clicky a button over here. All right. So, a couple of things. I want to shout out a couple of people in here. So I'm going to shout out our Dallas because people should know about our Dallas. He's a good guy. I'm going to shout out Robert Tables because I know he does a stream also and is pretty awesome. We've been there a few times. I'm going to shout out Brandon Satcham because I know he's in here and does a stream. And actually, Bobby, you do a stream, don't you? I'm pretty sure you do. So we're going to shout out all those people. Those are other streamers that you should all be following. And Gareth is live right now too, but is not in here. And I should just not, I can't autocomplete the name, so I shouldn't even, I shouldn't shout out Gareth right now, because it's making me actually have to type his name. So hopefully I got that right. If not, we just sent everybody to the wrong Gareth. So I want to do some shout outs, because these are awesome people that you should take a look at. Feel free to give them a follow, just open new tab, give follow to those people, because they're also awesome. As I said, we stream 4 times a week here on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I am going to start wrapping up the stream. I want to say a couple of things before we go, and I'm hoping you will all stick around as we're all going to do a raid today over onto the Codebase Alpha stream, which is S&B's stream. S&B is one of our moderators here in the channel. You'll usually see him chatting over in the channel as well as hanging out in our Discord. Speaking of which, if you are not in our Discord, I really do recommend it. Discord, for anyone who doesn't know, is a chat application commonly used by gamers and Twitch streamers, and it's also used by people that do like project collaboration stuff, things like that. It's a good collaboration and communication piece. So feel free to check out our Discord. You can join over there with a link, or down below there are links as well. In our Discord, you'll find channels about various different technologies where you can, they're just focused places to chat with other devs about stuff. We have like somewhere between 400 and 500 developers that are in our Discord. There are, interesting channels like our Rants channel. I created a channel to let people vote on which emotes they think that we should get created for the stream, for example. That's obviously just going to be a channel where, going forward, people are going to be able to make other suggestions. But I'm going to go ahead and get some extra emotes made so that our subscribers here on the channel get all the fun emotes that they want to use for whatever stuff in conversation. So if everybody gets really excited because I figured out some cool thing, or if you're on someone else's stream, you can too. We're gonna have hyped up, excited dino emotes as we usually have. These guys, and then a bunch of other stuff as well. So you'll find information about that in the Discord. Additionally, if you are someone that is interested in contributing to any of our projects or just looking at any of the code that we do here on the stream, it is all open source and out on GitHub at github.com/devchatter. Again, links over there in the chat and down below. You can find archives of our videos here in the video section on Twitch, but we also have full archives of everything on YouTube, so if you do want to watch some of our other videos, you can find them there as well, or if you miss one, you can find them on Twitch in the video section. I mean, heck, if you show up an hour late to the stream and you're like, hey, I want to, see what you did at the beginning, watch the intro and then I'll watch live, you can always go to the video, watch the intro, and then just, reload the main page to see us live. That is always an option. Buttons, clicking buttons. Last button I want to click is this button. I heard a heck. I don't know what the heck is. Maybe I made a weird sound. Either way, I want to thank all of our moderators today, which I guess is going to be Stoolpenner and S&B, and Crimson Green for alerting me about Star Trek, and all these wonderful people who followed us today. Thank you for following. And to our subs, Codair, Robert Tables, Dravenale, and Stoolpenner, thanks for those subs, Twitch Prime subs, and resubs. Much appreciated. Always fun. And again, our next stream is on Saturday. On Saturday, our streams start at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you that don't know, that is what? Hang on, math. 1800 UTC is when we're going to start. So that should be this Saturday. So look at your clock right now, roughly speaking, subtract about 2 hours, and that should be our start time on Saturday. We will be doing some cool stuff then. As always, it'll be a fun, conversation, discussion. We'll chat a little bit, we'll write some code, and generally have a good time. So, again, I'm going to toss us to the outro screen, and then we're going to raid S&B over at Codebase Alpha. So take care, everyone. Happy coding. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and have a good last bit of your week and into your weekend. So, bye.